Let the people know who is Carlos.
Just to build my own path has not been easy.
There's a few things that I took from the first piece that he talked about.
And right now we as a company, we have another challenges than to be known by everyone yet. Because
All right, so we're back here again, guys. 416 Hustle. Danilo again, and my co-host Andres. We have a really special guest today, and no, we're not alcoholics, but we're talking about some alcoholic beverages today. There's a business that's all in the beer industry, and so even though it's a little bit early in the morning, I don't even want to tell you how early this is. We're gonna get started super early today, but we have an incredible guest here today, Carlos, who's gonna show us a bit about what he's doing here in the GTA area in Toronto. This guy's native to Venezuela, and he's come to Canada to kill it in the beer industry and with other things that he has going on as well. So we have a few of his products here. We're going to talk about his story, how he came here, how this whole thing came to be. And that's what 416 Hustle is all about. We're trying to talk to entrepreneurs, see what their story is, how they came here, how it all works, you know, and why did they decide to do what they wanted to do. And we go from there so you guys can learn a little bit. And hopefully if you are thinking about getting into maybe doing your own craft beer, for example, or getting into entrepreneurship, this can kind of teach you a little bit what's going on and what you can do.
So Carlos, who is Carlos? Let us know. Let the people know who is Carlos.
well, I'm a passionate guy. I'm a dreamer, and I think yes, I have the blood of entrepreneur, and that's why I'm here with the product. I developed a brand because that was the only space I had to where no bosses, and which is not real. I do have bosses, which is the client and the market, but it's the space that I can do what I want, and I do not have to ask permission for it. Yeah. So I choose to build my own path. Has not been easy, and it's been challenging. And nowadays, I do not tell anybody to jump in to be an entrepreneur because I know how hard it is.
Correct.
I am not against a 9-to-5 job, and now since I have discovered all the challenges, all the obstacles we deal every single day building your own business, then I'm not an advocate to come to this side of the world. If you're really passionate, if you want to work for it, if you want to die for it, then go for it. But then nothing wrong with another path, because I've been listening a lot like, hey, everybody need to be their own boss, everybody need to have a company.
It's popular now.
It's like a narrative nowadays. It's become trending.
Yeah.
I don't think
for everybody.
That's a reality. Just follow your DNA, what you're good for, and if you get good payment for that, and it's enough what you get for what you do, then embrace it. And in my case, I'm very happy about what I do. And look at you guys. It's like 5 a.m. in the morning. And you're having a sip.
It's 5 a.m. somewhere.
Yeah, we're just having samples, guys. We're not going to pop open some beers at the office this early.
We're going to have 4 Latinas by the end of the hour, maybe. I don't know.
The reality that I wanted to do this example with you guys is because I wanted to start this podcast with the end, how we dream we're going to be as a brand, as a company.
Okay.
And for me, the best way to do it, even though it is a podcast where we're going to talk a lot, is by showing you fact and results.
Yes.
So I believe the best way to talk and speak is by showing results. Of course, I know a lot of people within the industry, right? We have a few friends, and I knew the podcast was coming, so I said to my friends, hey, hook me up with some beer of yours, and then let me get this guy to try it.
Let me get this straight. So one of these is yours, and 2 of them are not.
None of them are mine.
None of them are yours?
None of them are mine.
Okay.
So, but I want you to try it and then look at the color and tell the audience, for real, if you look any difference on it.
Okay.
Do you look any difference on it?
So this one's darker.
Yeah.
Can you tell?
This is a little darker. This one's a little lighter. This is kind of like medium. I don't know. You probably can't see that too closely, but take our word for it. That's what I see. You know, a little darker, and the other 2 maybe are a little bit pretty similar, but they're blondes. These are blonde beers, I guess.
The blondes. Do you see any foam on it? They've been sitting. Do you see anything like when you can open up and get the, you know, like you do with wine and then?
I mean, they seem pretty similar to me.
They're pretty similar, eh?
But they smell different.
They do smell different. These 2. This one has a stronger smell.
Yeah.
Out of these 2.
I would say so. You know, this one smells more beery, more like beer, I would say, and this has a little bit more fruit, little fruity tones.
Try it out. Try them, and
cheers.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
This one's more light, very light.
Okay.
I know you guys were an elevate taste palette, and
This one has a
It's
little
my first
more
taste of the morning, so. Okay.
Oh, this is the third one.
that's your third one, yeah?
Yeah, we're running out of cups here, guys. You know, we need a little bit more production.
Yeah, they all have a different taste to them. And this one's much lighter, the first one I had.
Yeah, they all, you know,
And
they're
one's
similar.
more
Though.
fruity. You're right.
They're a little
Goes
bit
to a
similar.
lot of breweries. So which one will you tell it is? Just by the market, what happened in real estate. If you look by the glance, when you go to buy a property,
Mm-hmm.
you know exactly how they look like. You say, oh, this is going to cost this or that, right?
Sometimes,
you know,
yeah.
When you walk in, you say, okay, this property cannot go less than this amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
With this product, will you tell any big difference right now? If you see it like this.
I see the point you're trying to prove, you know, like, you know, they look similar, you know, they smell maybe slightly different, but when you taste them, I can never really say, this is a Heineken, this is a Stella, this is a, because honestly, I don't know. And I guess maybe the most consumers wouldn't really know that. I don't know, right?
And then the whole point is about, well, the brands. I mean, local brewers. Which one will you tell is going to be which one
Is a local
brand will be-
brewery versus like a big Amsterdam beer? Like
Well, you
know,
guys
at
drink
this
a lot.
point, looking at it like this, I don't know. And I'm a guy, you know what? I can say that I tasted a lot of different beers. I have preferences. I know IPAs versus blondes versus dark beers and stuff like that. Stouts. I can tell a lot of those differences, but I don't know. With these three, I couldn't tell you who's who.
I'm going to show it to you who they are because it's absolutely hard to tell. And just to tell you some numbers, in the States, you have about 10,000 breweries just to start with.
Wow.
So in an overcrowded industry, saturated, right? And here in Ontario, we might have 400 breweries, like craft breweries, just in Ontario. So that tell you how competitive it is.
Yeah.
But still, look, when you drink at that, I brought our biggest competitor right now. Why?
Okay.
Look. That's what you're drinking right here. I'm going to
Oh,
show
it's
it.
a Corona, yeah?
No
I thought
problem.
one of them
no
was a
problem.
Corona.
No problem.
And
no
a
problem.
Heineken.
No problem.
And a Stella.
Because this,
So which one's most fruity?
you have
Yeah,
no
yeah.
clue,
Yeah.
and you cannot tell. And then what happened with my community, and that's what I'm bringing this. First, this is made by the same people. It's the same corporation that owns this. They worth billions, right? Billions. Here you have probably combined more than $5 billion worth. And still we believe we can make a case. Because the only thing that is making a real difference for you, it's marketing.
It's the marketing of the brand. You know?
Snoop Dogg right here. It's the Champion League right here.
Yeah,
Formula One and all the marketing.
Yeah.
So then, and what happened, what we realized is, in Canada, we can brew absolutely good quality beer. And nowadays, yes, we have all the influence from Europe about the beer, but now in America, phenomenal things are happening. And our beer, it's really, really good. And then here in Canada, we have the influence from the people from Europe, from Asia, brewing, that to be honest, it's a very nice place to be alive and the time that we live in to produce our own beer. So we came up with this idea, Latina beer, because now, forget about the functionality of the beer. What's the purpose we have in Canada? Tell me how many brands made and born in Canada are for the Latin audience.
And that was going to be one of my questions. Like, let's get these guys out of here, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm taking it out.
Too much publicity.
But, you know, you said a lot of things right now, man, and a lot of gems, by the way. If you're an entrepreneur listening to what Carlos has been saying, there's a few things that I took from the first piece that he talked about. The fact that, you know what, it's very hard to be an entrepreneur. You know, 9 to 5 is amazing. There's nothing against 9 to 5, but there's a certain type of person, and maybe it's you that's listening to this podcast. We're talking about business here. That is going to actually really have what it takes to really push and do everything that needs to be an entrepreneur. You have 3 entrepreneurs here sitting down, and we all have our trials and tribulations, our failures and our successes, and those failures are things that push us forward. But one thing I can tell you is that we work a lot more than 9 to 5. And I envy sometimes when I hear people, hey, I shut off on Friday at 5 and I turn on Monday at 9 a.m. I'm like, man, I wish, because that doesn't really happen. But having said that, if you have the push and you have the drive to actually do something, you can make it even bigger than anything that you can even imagine.
100%.
Dreams, like Carlos said, is possible. You know what I mean? And one of the things that, man, he talked about it too, the beer industry, the beverage industry, like, if somebody thinks just as an idea in their head that I want to get into making my own beer, like most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, probably the idea dies right in their head because no one ever takes the step to actually go for it. You know what I mean? And to me, I'm like, man, it's such a saturated market, like you said. How can you break in to, you know, being a popular brand, to being something, and man, like, you know, to me, I'm just like, it's crazy what you're doing. I've seen the brand before in places that I've gone here in the GTA, and now we're actually sitting here with Carlos and talking about it, which is amazing, man. Yeah. So you're right in saying that there's no other competitor that's specific for the Latino audience other than in Ontario here, the Latina beer. Is that what you're saying, or is there something else?
Look at what happened. So we realized, when first of all, our inspiration, and now telling you where we want to be, just to tell you, those are phenomenal companies. Mm-hmm. Eventually, we want to get there. We know we can be there, but they're like 100 years company. Mm-hmm. All the expertise, they have the best. We do. We believe we have right now a team that can be as big as they are. Mm-hmm. So when we first came to Canada as a newcomers, the history of every single immigrant in Canada, we're not exempt of that history. We realized that the influence of the Latino community was not just one single country. A brand like us doesn't make sense to be born in Venezuela, in Colombia, in Dominican Republic, in Chile, in Argentina, because calling you Latino over there is like, that's who we are. Mm-hmm. But here, it's totally different because we are a visible minority. Mm-hmm. And then what happened is usually when we flew away from our countries to arrive in Canada, we somehow forgot who we were. And saying that, when you first came to Canada, then you choose to adopt Canadian values. Mm-hmm. And that's what we realized. We say, hey, hold on one second. I do not know as an owner how is to go to a high school in Canada. I never had that opportunity. I don't know how it's to play hockey. Mm-hmm. But I totally know my grassroots from Venezuela. Mm-hmm. And I realized that about Central America, Honduras, Salvador, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and all these places. And here, these people opened the arms for me. They gave me the opportunity to pave my way to be successful in this country. Yeah. So it was unfair to build a brand only focuses on one nationality.
Sure. Yes.
And that magic happened in Toronto, where we happen to have the most multicultural city in the world. Correct. So then we said, hey, if we only put one country behind the brand, it's not going to be fair to the lucky we have in Canada. Correct. That we have all these many cultures. And still we know the non-Hispanic people, they do love the Latin alegría, our flavor, our charisma, all this hype, energy.
Latinos are trending. It was Bad Bunny was like the most played person on Spotify last year.
2 years in a row, yeah.
For like 2 years in a row. That's worldwide, right? Yeah.
And the trending is because that mi casa es tu casa, we are welcoming. And then we say those are the values for the beer. Right now, if we keep an eye on the numbers at the very beginning, we're going to be dead. So we are focusing, and our main focus is to build a strong brand with the values that we know we live in Canada.
100%.
Anybody from outside Canada cannot understand what's going on here. It's hard to explain because even though somehow we do have the resources financially, still we're hustling a lot. We're working more than everybody else. If you look at the way we're working in other countries, the time, here we're working probably twice. And still people say, well, over there doesn't make a sense to work that much because the pay is not enough. But they have the chance to live more. And embracing all these values, we said, okay, 5 years ago, let's going to open up a brand where we're going to incorporate the best of the cultures. So then we can grow from Canada to outside, keeping the values of Canada, which is work ethic and absolutely integrity and accountability. Yeah. And those values, those Canadian values, I believe in South America, Latin America, we do need it. Yeah. Because how great our countries were going to be if you have accountability, if you have the work ethic, and you are impeccable the way we're in Canada. We were phenomenal. 100%. But we're proudly Canadian brand.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And
I like that idea too, man. It's multicultural. Like I can give you a really good example. Like I was born in El Salvador, okay, but I come here at 3 years old, so I basically, grew up Canadian. I did go to elementary school here. I did go to high school here. I did go to college here. I did all that stuff over here. And you know what? Like one thing that's really unique about me is that yes, I speak Spanish, but because I have friends from Guatemala, from Colombia, from all these other places, like my Spanish is not necessarily Salvadorian Spanish. Like every country has like their own accent, their own way of speaking, their own words and things like that. And I would say that my speaking is very mixed, and most people would never even guess that I'm from El Salvador. Salvador because of the way I speak, and that's just the multiculturalism of here in Canada. And guess what? Like I have an Argentinian friend, a friend from Chile, Guatemala, El Salvador, etc., Colombia, and we don't segregate each other. Like I'm only gonna chill with my Salvadorian friends, or I'm only gonna like we all kind of get together because we're Latinos, right? And so I understand the branding behind it, and makes sense to just hey, I'm not from anywhere. I represent all of you guys here in Ontario, right? And I think that's a really smart one, man. Good.
The next thing we're trying to do is positioning the Latin image to be a premium image. Because somehow we were associated only for the work labor force, which is not bad. I'm proud of that. If you look around, we have cleaned this country. We have built this country. We have done the job nobody else wanted to. But doing those jobs, we were able, like I'm talking in history, right? To be able to raise our families, to send money back home, and to accomplish so many things that otherwise wouldn't be possible. So if you ask me, yes, I'm proud. Well, to be a cleaner, now some of us in our countries, we will never pay attention about a cleaner. That's a reality. We will never pay attention about a waitress or service.
Back home, you're saying?
Back home. But then when we arrived to Canada, and those were the jobs we had to do, now we see it different. We say, hey, you know what? It doesn't matter what you do. The value of the person is still with the person.
Yeah.
And those jobs, now I'm telling, hey, if you're Latino and you're doing whatever you're doing, you still your premium. Because all of us, we have a dream. All of us, we have a purpose, and we're working so hard. Yeah. So with the brand, it's like, hey, yes, we can be anywhere doing whatever you want. But if you met a Latino, it's not the gangster guy that la la la. No, it's a absolutely amazing guy that even though he's doing whatever he's doing, look deep, because that person might be a producer, that person might be a singer, that person might be a financial advisor, it's going to become a real estate agent, it's going to become a lawyer, it's going to become a doctor, and that's the brand. The brand is going to put the Latin in the way we know we are a premium, and of course our women are also a main character for the identity of our company, because
that was actually one of my questions, man. Like I was thinking, this is a Latina beer, and I'm like, okay, and you're representing Latinos, but so why Latina and not Latino beer?
The Latina beer, we first start calling our the brand Miss Latina, like the beauty pageant, Miss Universe.
Miss Latina.
We encounter a problem with that, even though for us was really clear. The market had a confusion on the name. Why? Because people thought at first glance it was a beauty pageant, cosmetic company, or something not straight up beer. Why we did it at the beginning? Because we encountered that Latinos, we might have a fight about who is the owner of anything. Arepas. Colombian will fight at the arepas.
That's not starting.
Pupusas, tamales.
I don't know pupusas.
Empanadas, and this and that. So no, this is mine, this is yours.
Yeah.
But where we all agree, it's like the beauty of the Latino women. Yeah. You cannot argue.
And the success they've had in Miss Universe.
And then another proof.
Was it Miss Nicaragua the one? Miss Nicaragua and El Salvador.
Venezuela.
There you go. And we've been really successful at the beauty pageant. And overall, you will have that the women's, even though they're gonna work so hard, they still look amazing. Yeah. And that's something that we're proud of, and it was in our culture too. That's right. So that was a way to honor like our tradition.
I wanted to go back to entrepreneurs and how they're not. Everyone's not meant to be an entrepreneur, right? Obviously, if you're watching this, you can see Carlos's passion and what he's speaking about, his brand, his company. If you're not passionate about your entrepreneurship, you should not be an entrepreneur, because you will not make it. Can you agree, Carlos?
Absolutely, I agree. I also want to add that passion is not enough. You need to add the component of expertise and knowledge. What I've seen, I have learned the hard way, like wasting a lot of money. It will save me a lot of time, effort, and resources. Finding the right person, you can call it mentor, you can call it advisor, you can call it expert, whatever you want, in your field that can save you some mistakes. Yes, passion is one of the ingredients, but also it's very important the knowledge. You have two ways to learn it. Either you ask for help, or either you jump in with your passion and then you figure it out your way.
Execution too.
That figured it out your way, yes. I mean, there's no other way to do it, but also keep in mind that someone that goes ahead of the game always will be a great help. Because for everything, for permit, maybe even for the beer, maybe we apply for a permit that is not necessarily the one that we needed. at the time. So you're paying that money that you just wasted. And yes,
don't be scared too. I would say that don't be scared. Like I think a lot of people feel ashamed that they have to ask for help. I mean, I don't think that makes sense. I think that if you want to go into a venture into a certain business, whether it be making your own craft beer or whether it be being a real estate agent or whatever you're trying to do, I think there's no shame in asking someone who's already done it. Actually, it's probably one of the smartest things for you to do, to invest some time and even some money and paying for a coach or somebody that's able to really teach you, hey, this is how I did it. I'm where you want to be. Well, you should probably listen to all the things that I've done in order to get there. Exactly. Because you know what? In a lot of cases, you don't need to reinvent the wheel, no matter what type of business that you're in. Someone's already done it before you. So if you have access to a mentor or somebody who can, if you take something away from this video, that's a really good, that's a really key one for sure.
I think you need to find a balance. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are too shy, they're too timid to be aggressive and ask somebody, hey,
maybe that's a Canadian way.
Would you mind helping me out? And then there's also the entrepreneurs, myself, like I had an ego problem. You have to let go of your ego and know that somebody out there knows more than you, somebody out there is more successful than you, and you can learn from those people. So you should bring them in, and like you said, applying for a grant or a permit or making a business plan. Like there's 100% someone better, stronger, or faster than you. That's what my coach always used to tell me.
I want to add to the audience or others entrepreneurs or people looking to open their own businesses. We hear a lot, like we wrong price or mistakenly price our products. We undervalue our product. And to be honest, it's so hard to charge the right price when you do not understand who you are. And
very true.
When I see those videos on TikTok from the expert, well, it's not that easy that you just show up and say, okay, my product costs this, and just people will go and pay you money. What I'm saying is, once you understand who you really are, then you're ready to go and charge whatever you believe is the right value for your price. How the hell do you understand who you are? By developing your brand and your product. We made a lot of mistakes. How much beer I put on your glass? A tiny thing. At the very beginning, we're going to show up to a restaurant and give away 4 cases for them to try it. Do they really need 4 cases to try it? Many of the restaurant, the owners they do not even drink beer. And we will go there and say, oh yeah, because they need beer.
So what did you learn from that? Like?
Hey, you gotta first do your due diligence. Maybe invest time and show up, understand what's the context, and then look at what's the need at the place. Right now we know if we go to a location that has 20 different beer selection, we don't want to be there. Because check that out. You're going to show up. You saw the example at the beginning. Only 3 big players. They're going to control everything. Advertising, they're doing their job. If we try to match that at the early stage, we're not going to be able to compete. Now we need to build our own field just to try to play fair. And in that case, before we're going to have expert. In my industry, everybody that drinks a beer, they believe they know the beer business. Like politics. Everybody that go and vote, they say, I can be the president. And then we're going to receive advice from everybody, from mom to dad to the guy in the street walking by. Everybody is an expert in the beer industry. The reality is there is a lot of things. It's boiling water here. A lot of that's been studied. And now we have realized by making mistakes, at 1% now what we need to do right. Yet, in an oversaturated market, we do have an opportunity, and our goal is to become worldwide top 3 brand in the world. Why? Because Latinos, we're gonna be all over the world.
We are all over the world.
And then when you go out and you say, okay, then yes, my country is not the center of the universe. A lot of other beautiful cultures around, then absolutely makes sense to call me Latino, and I don't feel that an offense. I actually am proud because I understand that, and I'm happy when I travel with my Canadian citizen passport because that also tells me, hey, yes, I come from a country too, which now in like a metaphor, Venezuela is my mom, but Canada is my wife. So even though you can pick your wife, you don't choose your mom. We love to death our mom. But I choose to pick Canada as my wife and to build my family. And this is my family, Canada. That's Latina beer. All the Canadian values, because I pick up Canada and to honor Canada. So here, you don't have a shortcut. You don't have you need to do it the right way.
You talked about this earlier too. You said back home people have a lot more time, and maybe the effort and the work ethic is not as strong as in Canada. I feel like when you're here in Canada or North America, could include the U.S. as well, is that you have no choice. I mean, you have to run fast, or else you'll be left behind.
Yeah.
So when people come here, sometimes they are surprised as what they face. The pace of life here. They feel like, oh, I'm just working. I go home, I sleep, I get up in the morning, I work again, and you know what? Like that is how things are here in a lot of ways. And it's nice that back home you can maybe hang out a little bit more and enjoy life a little bit more. You can create that here too. It's not impossible to do. And maybe entrepreneurship is one route that you can take to, at least at first, you're going to be really busy, but if you do things right, you might be able to free up your time at some point where you can enjoy the same sort of things you can do back home. But you need to really put a lot of hard work in. 100%. A lot of hard work in.
Embrace the small victories. I believe
100%. That's a small victory right there. When you told me earlier, look, I mean, I used to go to every location and I used to give a bunch of beers away, but I didn't do the right research.
Yeah.
I had to find out the context. I had to see, well, look, I'm coming against 20 different taps at this place. Why would I bring my beer here? Maybe I got to go to a place that only has 1 or 2 taps or no taps. Maybe I am the first tap at this place. And all of a sudden, you know what? I'm going to have a lot more exposure and it's going to work a lot better for me. I mean, that's a lesson learned from trying and doing, right?
Okay. Well, for the audience, because I love numbers and I love when people tell me exactly what they did. I'm not too into like when they say, oh, follow your passion. Okay, how the hell? Tell me like a blueprint. We did last year 3 restaurants worth 22 restaurants in terms of sales. Wow. So all the effort,
in 3 restaurants, we did 22 worth of
another 22 restaurants that we were in. So the amount of money the revenue that we have from
just these 3
restaurants worth equal to other 22 locations we were at.
Quality over quantity.
You say that simple sentence, but now think about the company, all the effort we did to be at the 22 restaurants.
Yeah.
Giving them everything we have, all this investment, and then when you look at the numbers over the year, you said, okay, what I was doing. And that can happen if you have a cookie business, if you have a restaurant business, if you're an artist, if you're selling as a graphic designer, whatever you do, then still we needed to be at those 22 to have the confidence right now to say that's where we don't want to be.
Yeah.
So now we wake up with the certainty where we want to go. But that certainty you develop in not knowing. Because when we did it last year, we thought that was the path that was going to work with us.
Yeah.
And then by doing it now, nobody will come from outside, and we're not going to let any opinion from outside that now telling us what to do.
The numbers talk.
Because now we have more confidence in what we're doing. I'm talking as a small entrepreneur with this big dream. As you can tell, you have these brands and you're going to drink it and you cannot tell immediately, oh, this is that. Honestly, you cannot tell.
Yeah.
And now it comes to, okay, do the small steps and eventually you're going to get there. But the only thing that you cannot bypass is the right thing that you got to do at your right moment.
Yeah.
So if you're really small, focuses on the resources you have available. For me, being at this podcast, it's like we are right now in a late shock, the most famous one. Because the importance of the connection with you guys for the company is really valuable.
Of course, 100%. Tell us about the victory you had in Stony Creek.
Well,
Stony Creek, Hamilton.
Huge victory. I'm not going to call that a small victory. Let me start also another value for the company that will make your business really successful. Strong relationships. The only thing that will take off LATINA beer is not the best beer, it's the strong relationship you can build in your way up. So for the Stony Creek, back in the time, we have one of the guy organizers that he knew about the brand. So he knew about all the effort behind, and then when they decided to come up with the festival, we said for them, hey guys, what about if we brand the can with your Stony Creek Festival? So as a company, we bring a value that they think was absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
And then we said, hey, even though yes, we're a Latina beer and you're a country festival, if your audience enjoy great beer, and if your audience, even though it's your risk, it's your first festival, we're gonna make an investment. So we're gonna also put money into making this possible. But for us is everybody that show up there, they're gonna receive the best. They did, and we became the official beer for a country music festival. The first edition is Stony Creek.
Oh my gosh.
So
Okay.
think about that. Latina beer in a country music festival. I don't know within the Latin community if we're very well known about country. Yet, let me tell you,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
People love it.
You're breaking
the
borders.
experience.
You're breaking borders. You're starting something new.
It's
I mean, look, I don't think that you created this brand in order to just limit it to the Latino people.
Yeah, of
I mean,
course.
I don't think that's the overall goal at the end of the day, right? Exposure in any direction, I think, is probably good. And you probably didn't see this coming, but the opportunity presented itself. And as an entrepreneur, you got to take some risks, some marketing risks too. And look, in this case, what happened?
then it comes when we right now we're focusing on the Latino community is to make them have the right mindset. And what's the right mindset? Look, why we drink the mainstream brands? Because in our country we cannot drink it.
Yeah.
So it's a symbol of status. And I'm going to say it up front here. Look, in Venezuela, you're not going to drink Stella. But you see on Instagram people outside the country drinking Stella. So you believe you are because you're drinking Stella. They make you believe that. So when you go outside the country, you don't even care. You just want to post or tell that you're drinking a Stella because you're a connoisseur of beer. You don't even know that it's made in Montreal with all of the rest,
Yeah.
20 ingredients,
Read that,
diluted, pasteurized. But you're drinking the power of the brand
Yeah.
makes you as a person. We believe the opposite. We believe you are the real value.
Yeah.
So for me right now, when I go to a party and everybody is just drinking Corona or this brand,
Yeah.
the one that is drinking Latina beer, I know that person is going after something.
Yeah.
I know that person look for details, look for quality. For
Yeah.
me, that's a valuable person. That's a
100%.
relationship I'm going to look after. Because everybody else is just following a crowd.
Exactly.
We're not a crowd followers. We're not going to show up to
You
a
go
place
against the grain, yeah.
just to pretend to be and just to try other things to
Yeah.
bring me, to tell me who I am. That's not. We work the opposite. For me, Danilo, Andres, you are the best at what
Thank
you
you.
do.
Thank you.
So doing
Thank you.
the brand is so proud to be at this initiative.
Yeah. First
because
episode.
you are the best.
First episode.
Yeah, first guest.
First
speaker,
time
for sure.
episode.
First guest.
That's super cool for us. But that's what
Cheers for that.
happens.
Cheers for that.
Cheers.
And then when you look at, pay attention.
And it's
to
good,
that.
man. It's good. I like this.
And then look at what happened.
I've
as
had
a
it before, by
sentence.
the way.
You will have this sentence that I learned here in Canada. The worst enemy of a Mexican is another Mexican.
Oh,
El
really?
peor enemigo de un mexicano es otro mexicano. And also you will say that, you can say that for Venezuelan, you can say that for Colombian. Oh, the worst enemy of a Colombian is another Colombian. That's not true. Within us, we really support each other. When you find the right person.
Yep.
Same for the beer. It's not exclusive for a nationality. It's not a passport that is a bad person.
I think you
Yeah.
can find that in any culture.
In any
you can
culture.
even say that about Canadians. I'm sure like a lot of people don't like to see you go up, and so they prefer to see you go down because like they're not doing something themselves. So that hate sometimes
Yeah.
is almost good. It's like,
Yeah.
well, at least you're watching what's going on. Then, if anything, have a good
From
show.
the same
We're
community.
still gonna push forward at the end of the day.
People is telling me, do not work with Latino. Do not work with Latino. No. You got to stay away from Latinos. And I'm like, okay, I refuse it.
I had a lawyer that actually told me that
As a Latino lawyer.
a Latina lawyer, she believed that because my brand was so centric in the Latino community,
You're not
that
gonna be
she was
successful.
shying away from like working with me, and she's like, "Oh, you shouldn't work with them, like this and that, just bad mouthing the community and everything."
Well, look at me. I cannot pretend I'm from Swedish. I'm not
You're not from Sweden?
A Danish guy. I'm not. So, I refuse to believe that.
Yeah.
Because if you put the eye on, in every single successful company, there is a Latino in an important role.
Yeah.
Everywhere you put your thing, oh, it's this guy from Latin America developing this thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, then the problem is when you
definitely.
pick the wrong audience, the wrong crowd. So now we don't have that complex anymore. Like when even people to tease us, some audiences, they're going to go, oh, you, and compare us with Heineken, Corona, or Stella. And I'm like, that's a compliment.
Of course.
It's like you play soccer and they tell you, oh, Manchester City, Real Madrid, Barcelona. You don't play that well. Like, you're not like them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You're talking to the top of the world.
Of course.
So and if you're putting me in that conversation, we're
Amazing.
doing something right. We're
Amazing,
doing something
amazing.
right.
As long as I'm part of the
And-
conversation, that's a win in my eyes.
I
100%.
wanted to say, I think why we connected is because we both kind of have the same mentality in terms of value. Like what you mentioned about the can and telling the festival that you can brand the cans to their festival and you're going to leverage that to open the door to get in their good books and you can, and vice versa. And then now you're the official sponsor. But I think entrepreneurs nowadays, they look too much at like the dollar value instead of trying to leverage, okay, what can I do for you and what can you do for me type of thing versus just straight dollar for dollar type of mentality.
When we look at the numbers on that business, it was not the best business we have done. It was not the best deal in terms of money.
Yeah.
But if you ask me in terms of accomplishment,
Of course.
of a milestone, was the best deal we did last year. Because now the history has been written. You cannot take that back. And now we know it can be possible. So nothing is stopping us.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're going to be at the S&P in Alberto Calgary thing.
So, but then before getting there, to every entrepreneur, focus on what you have right now available and what you need to fix. And right now, we as a company, we have another challenges than to be known by everyone yet. Because if we don't fix what we need to fix right now for 2024, it doesn't matter how big we go, we're not going to be able to deliver the experience for the customer. So, and it takes time. It's not now the video game culture where you can just play a game. You build your avatar and then you play like LeBron James and then the guy from the sports. And you're this big creature and you play. That not happen in real life. Every overnight success, they tell you they're not overnight success. So now we know we've been in the business for like 7 years. And still the most common things that we get as a company, guys, I really don't know you. When this is started? And we're like, there you go.
So let's talk about that a little bit because I think it would be very beneficial for everyone and even myself to understand, like, you know, how we get from 7 years ago to this point where we now have a can, we're now in stores. Like, I visibly have seen your brand in other places before I've even met you. We've gotten to that point. Like, how did that all start? Like, 7 years ago, like, what happened when you just started thinking about this concept and then you made it happen? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was tired of being kicked out from jobs.
Okay.
So I said, okay, I need to develop something where I cannot get kicked out.
Yeah,
where the decision.
I do something myself, that's for sure.
And I just blocked from here. I was working at the Roger Stadium. I was cleaning. I was working as a cleaner. And one of my co-workers, guy came to me and said, hey, I know how to brew beer. And I said, no, you're kidding me. I thought it was rocket science. So the guy brought me on a paper and a piece of napkins, all the tools we needed and the ingredients. I got them all and I called him, hey, you said you know how to brew beer. Let's going to go and brew beer. Guy show up to my basement. We started doing the thing. When you do it the craft way, it will take, when you do it at home, you brew your own beer, it takes like 3 months to get ready. So after 3 months, he had to leave the country. He went to Spain. And I just pop it up. And I'm like, holy God, it tastes phenomenal. It was an amazing product. I call him like shaking, like, hey, his name is Ricardo. Hey, Ricardo, this is phenomenal. You really, this is a great beer. Why we're buying it if
when
we can make it and sell it? And he's like, I don't know, I'm not a businessman. I know how to brew. I was not interested in a business. If you want to open up a business, it's going to do it. It's going to go. And I will do my field of expertise, which is brew beer and all the thing behind the beer. And I'm like, okay, and that's a passion start. Wow. 23 batches, we failed. So I tried to replicate that recipe at home, and 23 times we failed. Keep in mind that for a batch, it takes 3 months.
But
so
why was it a failure?
2015 to 2019, it was just trying it at home, and it was a failure because the batch will not taste okay. For some reason, it's going to be affected.
Just that first
one. It was sour, it was too sour, it was too citrus, it was wrong. One bottle, it was a bottling at that time, one bottle will taste one way, the second bottle will taste a different way.
Wasn't
so
consistent.
I will be hesitating when I give you the beer because I don't know how
it needs to taste the same, right?
So I will look at your face and see what's going to be your first reaction. If you drink it and you're like, I'm like, no, let me give you another one until you get the right one. And if you are okay, I'm like, okay, that tastes okay. And what happened was, because it takes 3 months, I will invite my friends. At that time, I was working at a call center. So all my friends will come home and they will chuck it in 2 hours. So 48 bottles that took me 3 months to be alive. Are you really gonna end it up in 2 hours? Guys, take your time. They're gonna go, oh man, this is so good. Clack, 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 clack.
It tastes better when it's free too.
That's right. No, we need to do. And my lady at home, she will say, okay, no more home brewing because it was stinky, the house. So, like the malted grain and everything. So that pushed me to like, okay, let's gonna increase the production until we choose this for one event. That happened. I have this lady calling me, hey Carlos, I'm gonna be doing this event. I know you're doing beer. You wanna jump in and be the beer for the event? And then we were not ready at all. Like every entrepreneur, we were not ready at all. And I said, absolutely, we're ready. When is this coming? It was 6 months.
I said, absolutely, we're ready.
And
I love
we
it.
have everything you need. We're ready. We had nothing at the time, but that put us in a situation that we need to speed up now. We need to take this seriously, and so we did. And then we start finding a supplier and everything to make it the right way. And in that, always when you're looking for, the magic element will show up. Always. That magic element is the right person that will help you to achieve the goal.
Yeah.
In that time, for us at that time, was a Common Good Brewery. We're no longer there, but they were our first mentor, their brewmasters and their management that opened the doors. Before getting there, I knocked like 20 doors. They refuses to produce our product. I got to this door and it was meant to be, because it was not a business partner relationship. It was more like a mentorship. They did things for us that none other co-packer brewery will do it. So they will see, if you need 10 cases, I will give you 10 cases. Nobody in massive production will give you 10 cases.
Because that's too little?
So, 10 cases is only 10 cases.
Right,
like 10
right.
cases is 1 bar, 2 hours Friday, right? It's too little.
Yeah.
It's too little. So nobody, no factory will have a 1,600 liters, like a 16 hec tank, to only do like 200 for you, because you're not using.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that these guys agreed to do that for you?
Well, because they saw the opportunity long term. They said, okay, if this brand grow and it's actually making in the market, then we're gonna be producing for them tons of tons. And indeed that happened. So we start from like a very small batch, and then our latest agreement, then we were doing full tanks. So we represented, at the moment we left, a nice account for them.
I see like a risk on both sides there, you know what I mean? One saw an opportunity for growth. Another was knocking on 20 doors plus in order to get to the one person who said okay, you know? Yeah. And before that, maybe 23 different batches over several years in order to get to the right one. Like, that's all perseverance. That's all push. Like, do you think that's easy? Is that an overnight success story? This took a lot of time and effort, you know what I mean? And
but look at these numbers though. Right? Look at this number in terms of you guys selling. Imagine. We start brewing 48 bottles in 2015. Last year, we sold or moved around 33,000 cans.
Wow.
So, in the beer industry, that's nothing. That's nothing, guys. That's, to be honest, that's when you compare with any local craft brewery, that's nothing. But in our history, in our story,
of course,
then you said, okay, depends on how you play the numbers. Okay, one day I was moving 48, now I'm moving 32,000. For anybody that tried to sell 32,000 of anything, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. And
still an accomplishment, though.
And now, how do you want to punish yourself? I'm going to punish that I don't sell the 8.5 billions or millions cans that another brewery can move, or I'm going to say, hey, I started at 24 and now I'm at 32,000. Then what's going to
100%. And not just that, I mean, you got to be listening to what Carlos is saying here, right? What did he learn last year? He was in 22 restaurants, and then he realized that 3 of the restaurants produced the most, or just as much, or maybe even more than the other 22. Okay, so every single year, you got to look back at what you did, and you got to make adjustments going forward. Now we maybe are focusing on things that look like those 3. Because why would I go everywhere else? Because those were my most successful places. Yep. How do we produce more than 33,000 sales next year? You know, and every year you make adjustments. You make adjustments, you keep pushing. You know, and this is how it goes, always.
Great growth. Just like real estate. 1 year, your first year, a couple years, you sell one house.
You look back and you be like, what did I do? Which things worked? Which should I focus on more? You know, and those are things that I do, you know, every year. I'm like, okay, well, this was my biggest group. I got to keep things over here, you know, etc.
Now, the main reason we moved from them was because my business partner, he's the brewmaster. When I first started this project, I called my childhood friend, and I said to him, hey man, it doesn't matter if I'm going to become rich or poor. Either way, you're going to be next to me. So you better jump in the boat at the early stage. So he was in Venezuela at the time, and he said, you know what, it's going to go all in. So he took the Niagara College program for brewmaster. So he did the school for that.
Welland.
In Welland, the campus in Welland that has the Niagara, the brewer facility program. He did all the program. He graduated as a brewmaster, and then he started working as a junior brewmaster at this new facility. So it makes sense for us that our guy is now the guy making our beer.
Of course, in-house.
So that was the only reason. We didn't have, I mean, it was not a financial decision.
So this
It
guy,
was
you know, he legitimate came and went to Niagara College for this company.
for this, literally, for this dream. It was
for
not
this
even,
dream.
because we couldn't even afford it. He put on his own money, the school, the tuition, and everything.
He believed in it.
And he believed in the dream. So now you're telling me, well, it's all about what it's behind when you're drinking a Latina beer. It's just you're not drinking an Excel sheet like you can have from other corporations. Now you're drinking a true story that we all have in common.
Beautiful.
And I'm hoping people are listening to this story. I don't know how many people knew this story, but now you're going to learn a lot about it. You know?
And still it happened to me. When I show up to a restaurant where we sell the product and I see someone drinking Latina beer, I want to jump in and hug it like I started Stop it, that's weird though. But, because imagine for all the options you have.
Yeah.
And then a restaurant will charge you like from $7 to, we've seen the product at $18 a can. And you chooses to buy our product. It's like, I believe you own the company. You deserve an equity in the company.
You're a shareholder.
You're a shareholder right now because you represent an ambassador of the company. So when we show up and see it, we're still shaking. And that same happiness for the company is really easy to connect with the artist because we share that thing that you cannot explain, the feeling. Because when an artist listens to their music, radio, nightclub, concert, or someone in the street just playing the music, that feeling, that gratitude is you cannot compare with any paycheck in the world.
Yeah.
Same like a painter. And still, we have the hate. And that's something that you need to handle, understand. We knew this since day number one for the mentors we have had. The artists, the people creating music, they do a lot of phenomenal process, producing the music, writing the song, going to the studio, paying, all these things. When the music finally get released, we're just gonna go and play it and say, oh man, this sucks. This is really bad.
Some people, yeah.
But that opinion, it is because what you're making is art. And art has the identity that the final customer has or can have the opportunity to judge your product. So we knew that it doesn't matter how good we create our product. And by the way, it's like we have like a Ferrari in beer. Still people will drink it and say, oh, I hate it. But we knew it because that's the quality of art. It doesn't matter how hard you work, how good you do it.
You're not going to please everybody.
It's part of our life that the last word is in front of the people that is consuming our product. So we're okay. We take that as a, hey, that's fine. Because that's something that I will tell to someone that is doing entrepreneur in, cookies, or I'm doing this, and you chicha, in the beverage industry or in the food industry. Because again, it doesn't matter how hard you work, people will try and say, oh, I hate this dessert. This is not good. So that ability of the product to be art, we love it. We don't
take the good with the bad.
Take the good with the bad, and yet again, when we're moving forward this year and have like a membership to deliver our product, and we're working with great product. This candle that you're seeing here is another entrepreneur. She's a lady from Colombia that has the same passion. Share the passion with us. So who do we want to work Latina beer with? People that we have common values. You cannot make good business with bad people.
Yep.
If you find a good heart, then let's go. So now when people will be coming to our membership, then you're going to be receiving a welcoming package with products that definitely are outstanding. And their entrepreneurs behind are phenomenal people. And take times.
Of course.
You got to go out and do your thing.
Of course.
It takes time and yeah. So moving forward, this March 9, last year in February 25th, we did the rebranding from Miss Latina. Remember, you have the bag right there at the back. It's Miss Latina to Latina beer.
Yeah.
And now it's a tradition that in the first 3 months of the year, we're gonna be hosting what we call the premium night, La Noche We All Deserve. It's a premium gala where we pretty much honor.
By the way, we're suited up for a reason here.
And I have a challenge, guy, for you, and I will give you. If you do it, then you can give away 1 ticket for the premium gala for free as the podcast giveaway for the audience.
Okay.
But it's going to be on you guys.
Okay,
so
sure.
let me put the time frame here. And then
we're going to test it here, guys.
So we're going to have 2 minutes. I believe 2 minutes is more than enough, according to the experts, to do what I'm going to tell you to do right now. I'm going to get out of the frame real quick. And so because the night it's gonna be about a gala. You choose who is gonna do it. The challenge this year is gonna be about the tie.
Okay.
Last year we did the Submarino challenge. Not a good idea. We put a huge glass of beer and you need to chug it in less than 90 seconds. Not good. This year you need to do your tie properly in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So a gentleman, a true. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I want to do it. Oh, there you go. You gotta untie it.
Sure.
And he can do it anyway because there's different ways of doing it too.
Well, you're gonna do a nice one. It could be anyway, but you need to. I mean, look at that. It match your
Just making sure, you know.
your outfit. Whenever you're ready, hold on.
You guys ready? Okay,
1, 2, 3, go. 2 minutes.
It's been a while since I've done this actually.
Let's see.
I swear I used to do this all the time.
I know it's hard. Myself, I cannot pass the challenge to be honest.
No?
No.
Yeah, I'm missing something here. Let's see. No, I didn't. I'm pretty sure.
There you go. That's nice. Let me see. Now.
I think I got the idea right.
Right, that's up.
I failed, guys. Oh my gosh. I need to put in more ties, man. I used to do this all the time.
I know it's hard, but the main reason for the premium night, it's gonna be a gala night. Remember what I was telling you, that we need to have Latino to show them the way we know they are these very special people.
Yes, for sure.
And talented. That's what we want.
And hopefully people who can tie ties better, you know.
Oh no, for sure. If you have the time,
You don't have to wear a tie, right, to the premium night?
You don't. Well, you don't have to, but we will highly appreciate if you go with a tie. Have fun.
Okay.
Have fun. It's a
What
gala.
about a
Have
bow
fun.
tie?
You can go bow tie. Yeah, I don't believe you're not gonna be overdressed.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna be overdressed. If you show up with a tuxedo, you're good to go. If you show with a bow tie or tie, you're good. But yes, so this premium night, we take the time to show gratitude to the people doing good stuff the previous year. So this time we're gonna honor, we're gonna give an award to the 2 directors of the main Latin festivals that happened last year.
Okay.
One of them was celebrating 10 years anniversary, and the other one, she was celebrating 15 years anniversary. So for us, an organization that was able to keep up
That many years.
that long, it's definitely a milestone, someone to look up for this type of thing.
Amazing.
So as a beer, we do have the responsibility to show up that. And again, we are because people are. Like Latina beer doesn't give you any power. You are the power.
You are the power.
And that's our main reason. We appreciate the people drinking our product because we know we're giving the best and they're giving us the best.
Okay. Andres, you're up, buddy.
Oh, you
Yeah,
wanna do
2
the
minutes.
timer? Okay.
You ready?
I can try. No
Go for it.
guarantees.
Go for it.
Okay, remember.
Might have like
That's what I'm messing up too. I went in the wrong way.
So
you got it.
many.
It's already done.
This is a simple way,
Yeah, that's all you gotta do.
but there's a way to do it much more like bigger.
You're done, buddy.
all right. Yeah, there you go.
That's why I asked. I'm
There
like,
you
that's
go.
the way.
Good
Yeah.
job.
I think that's the way that I used to know.
Fancy way.
That's good.
There's a fancier way to make it much nicer though.
There you go. That's good. Good enough. And okay, now you're the mark. 42 seconds.
So that's 2 tickets, right?
42 seconds. You definitely know. You're gonna have a ticket, guys, to like give away as the podcast. And yeah, I don't know when is it. It's gonna be March 9. So if you're able to produce this and be on time, it's gonna put in the comments. Whoever show up first to the comments, we're gonna send them code so they can redeem the.
So I did have a question for you. So if somebody wanted to go get a Latina beer, do we have to go to a certain restaurant, or is there somewhere you can pick up a 6-pack, or how does it go?
Starting March 9, we're gonna be able to sell it online. Pretty much you go online and we deliver it to your place. Pretty much.
Amazing.
Just make sure you're there because of course we need to check your ID, that you're legal age to receive the alcohol.
course, yeah.
But yeah, starting March
It's like
9,
an Uber.
it's gonna be online, and yeah, well, the locations you buy it, but you buy it at retail price. At our website, you're gonna be able to buy the can as.
We're in Toronto now. Like, is there a few spots in Toronto that?
Yeah, we have here right now in Casa Mezcal and
Casa Mezcal?
Casa Mezcal, and they have another restaurant that also it's for Casa Mezcal. We are at Esto es Colombia. We are at Salsa Street, and we are at the Cats and Cradle bar.
Cats and Cradle.
Yeah, so we're little by little getting.
La Liga as well, right?
La Liga, we are at La Liga for
La
sure.
Liga, okay.
La Liga is a signature for the community.
Yeah. It's a nice spot. I see your little
It's
fridge
a-
at La Liga. That's where I found La Liga. You know?
Yeah, that was another thing. So we did the freezer thing because, I mean, for that particular business, the fridge was needed. So we allocated there, and yeah, it's small things getting there.
Amazing.
But yeah, and yeah, we're looking this year to work with the right crowd, because that right crowd for us is gonna be like 300 movie, right? The 300 that will allow us to conquer. Not easy. I want just choose your path, align with your identity, what you want to do, and then if that's in a job field, go get that job. There's value in it.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to be an entrepreneur, go and be an entrepreneur. That thing that say, hey, solve a problem. If you solve a problem, then what? If you're an entrepreneur, eventually you will figure it out what problem you're solving. Maybe your first idea is not going to work. Maybe your second idea is not going to work. Maybe after 10,000 failures, and people will look at you as crazy.
Yeah.
Look, right now we are a failure until we prove it not. But the only people that need to believe is us. Because if I go and talk to a big company and say I only sold 32,000 cans, they will say, Carlos, that's nothing. But that's depend, right? And then how hard are you? That's perspective. So choose what side of the road you want to be. Are you want to be punishing yourself because you're not there yet, or you're going to embrace the journey?
Exactly. No, 100%. No, I don't know if I could have ended the episode in another way, man. Like, I think those messages are amazing. And I think the story of Carlos just shows you that there's a grind, there's a hustle to actually being in entrepreneurship. You're going to fail before you actually go up. And that's the story that is similar to me. You know, Carlos and Andres, I'm sure, have similar stories. You're always going to go down before you go up, you know, and you have to invest time and effort, and you have to be passionate about what you want to do. You know, at the same time, you need to have proper execution. You need to learn from your mistakes. You know, and you need to have something that resonates with you. You know, you have to find who you are, you know, and if at this point in time you know that you want to start a business, you don't know what it is yet, I mean, that's fine. Like Carlos says, sometimes you're going to have to try things and you realize that that's for you, or if it isn't. Try to find something that is for you, though, because if you do, that's where the longevity comes, and you can continue to push forward, and you're going to be okay with continuing to doing this work, because it's a lot more work than most people think, you know, but it's really worth it.
Yep. Carlos, where can people find Latina Beer, like Instagram, website?
Yeah, just go Latina Beer. Cool story about little details. Latina Beer was taken from social media. So when we started with Latina Beer, forget about it, it's taken. We approached the name owner. It was a tiny changarro, like small place, bar, somewhere in Brazil, like 2,000 miles from the capital. It ended up that guy was in my same city, somehow. Really? So we connected, and then just by talking, the guy said, "You know what, man? Let me just switch it. I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna open it. I'm gonna free it for you guys." And in that way, we didn't pay for it.
Wow.
We didn't. It was just a matter of ask.
Yeah.
Just hey, ask. And so we did. And now you go on social media, you just go Latina Beer, which I believe is huge.
Yeah.
That little detail in the world nowadays we live in, it's huge. And then if you go to
Carlos,
the website,
it's you, man. You're the salesman, man. I see this happening because of this guy, man. You knock on all the doors until someone says yes. You go meet the guy until you get the name.
Yeah.
But to be honest, guys, that's
I love it, man.
let me tell you, that's not real. Like, I'm very shy because honestly, and that's a skill that I'm working on, I do not like to sell. And that will be a mistake that I will do with the product. At the very beginning, I'm gonna give it for free because I was afraid that hey, I don't wanna charge for it. Like this is my passion. It's like you have a son and someone treat bad your son. You're like, I'd rather give it to you for free, the product. So you don't owe me anything, or I don't owe you anything. I have that kind of feeling. I'm working on it, and it helped me understanding my limitations. So if I don't know how to sell, I'm gonna ask help for Andres when I see a quality on it and say, hey, Andres, can you go and do the talk for me? Tell this, and that. And he's going to say, why you don't go? Man, I'm afraid. And the afraid will paralyze me, to be honest. So I will let Andres go, and then if I find an opportunity where I feel comfortable, I need to work on that. That happened for the social media, and for the website, you go latinabeer.club. So we said, you know what, now we're just going to be coming to a club because that's what we want to sell. A few people that understand the product, and we give all the value to them. So the .com was taken, so we chooses
LatinaBeer.club and then Latina Beer on social media. Okay, amazing.
Perfect.
And that you find us, and happy for this initiative, guys.
Yeah. I learned something too. I gotta learn how to tie next.
There you go. And an early stage, which we are right now.
Yeah.
We learned so much coming to this. because we learn from you the skills you use and the crossover from your industry. The way I guys see you pitching, when I go to your events and see you sell your products, then all that influence help us to innovate. Because as a product, tomorrow we can be at a funeral, and next day we can be at a Sweet 16. Next day we're going to be at an art gallery, and the next thing we're going to be in a soccer game.
Yeah.
So by looking all these different industry, we know we can innovate. And that's something really beautiful, because if you're stuck doing what you do, you lose the overall view.
It's true.
And that's what I believe we have a slight edge to be successful. Because now we can produce things that other people won't be able to do it, but it's because our own advantage, because of the places we can be and the people we can connect with. Like you guys, when we show the events.
100%.
So,
you know what? Can you remind us on that event? Obviously, at least one of us knows how to tie a tie, so we got some tickets so we can give away to you guys. So remind us again, is March 9th, was
March
it?
9th. It's going to be at Sinflix Media. Look at this. Sinflix Media is a place hosted by Chinese community. They own.
Okay.
It's by Asian people. The Chinese people community runs that place. And again, it's the beauty of Canada. How the hell in the world we're going to connect a Latino beer thing with an Asian community.
Yeah.
So, and now they have become an extremely successful, helpful ally to our business. So this is a TV studio. So the quality of the production of the show is like a Grammy. So when you look at it on social media, you say, wow, this looks phenomenal. We wanted that. And literally, I went to the guy and say, hey man, kind of like begging. This year we need really your support. Like begging, like from man to man, gave us the space. The guy was like, okay, if I do it, you stop bothering me. I'm like, yeah. And let's go.
That's the story of Carlos, man.
pushing.
Keep pushing.
Exactly.
If you don't ask, you don't get. Why don't you ask?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of you are just waiting there like, if I just ask this one guy.
Exactly.
We have been bringing value to that location. We've shown up to that place for many events, so we build a relationship.
Yeah. And
And once the relationship was built, I went and knocked the door, because now I feel comfortable that I'm not going to feel rejected or something. And then I begged, but literally I begged. I didn't, hey, I'm the owner, man. I'm the owner of nothing. Like, we're building right now, and we need you to get to the second level. And I told the guy, if we get to another level, probably I'm going to bring business to you. But I need to get there. Help me to get there. And then eventually you can capitalize that. But otherwise, I won't be able to get there. And the guy agreed, and he's a phenomenal dude. Again, we're working with the right people.
Amazing.
The people that we work, when you see Latina beer endorsement, someone or working with someone, have the guarantee that that's a good heart, and it's accountable, and it's going to be there for you. Because same like I can tell you these three things. Good heart, they're accountable, and you can count with that people, you guys. So people that it's going to go on.
Thank you.
Meet you Danilo and meet you Andres. You have a good heart. You're going to be accountable, and you're going to show up for that person.
100%.
That's what we're here too, and we say yes to be here because we're proud and we believe you're the best. So
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna make my order as soon as I'm able to online.
What is that?
You
March
guys better be too.
March 9th.
March 9th, so it's a launch.
March 9th is very important.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So that's the first episode of 416 Hustle. Carlos, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the samples, bringing that energy and telling us your story. On behalf of me and Danilo, we just want to say thank you. And look out for the next episode. And you can find La Latina Beer at latinabeer.club. And also our orders online available as of March 9th. So make sure you check them out.
Gotta finish this, man. Bottoms up.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh.